Hey there, welcome to day 9 of the Get Up and Go Challenge. How to get the big O. Good topic. This is, of course, the second in our SOAP analogy, our SOAP process for dealing with and handling challenges. Now, yesterday I'm going to share with you what I picked for the S. The S in SOAP is, of course, story and situation. And we looked at the 7 areas of our life: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. And we asked ourselves, okay, how do I rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of these areas? And then what one is bugging me or bothering me or causing me the most impact right now? And I had to default to my physical well-being, my physical body, my health, my energy, my vitality, mostly my energy, my sleep, things like that. Because guess what? If my body's not working, if I don't feel physically good, or at least pretty good, and I always want to feel physically awesome, that is going to impact absolutely everything else I do. It's hard to work on my financial things. It's hard to go out and confidently earn more money if I'm not feeling physically fit or good. You know, if you're sick, if you've got the flu or something, how energized are you to go out and meet with people or talk to people, even on the phone, and move your business or your life or your job ahead? You know, if we're sick, we call in sick to work and we don't show up. If we're sick and we have our own business, we, lay in the bathroom on a pillow and don't show up. Since we're in the midst of, I don't know where we are with COVID. Is anybody else confused? But I know that I am personally immune system challenged, so I need to continue to follow the guidelines, whether people believe it or not, whether people think COVID is BS or not. I was really sick around the holidays, and that didn't feel so good. And if that's what it's like, or worse, I don't want to put myself at risk of getting it, or any of the people around me that I love and care about. So I picked physical. Now, what are some of the stories that I tell myself about why my physical has gone down the tank during COVID? Well, like everybody, not maybe everybody else, but I, of course, it's subconsciously blame COVID. I blame a lot of the things outside of my control for me having clothes that are too tight, because part of my situation is my clothes are snugger, my clothes are tighter. I have less energy, sleeping less well, and I will look for, based on my personal beliefs, stories that support that narrative, right? So the story is, COVID hit, shut us all down, shut me down, and this is just about me in the example, shut me down, therefore I did these things and made these choices that led me to where I am right now. Now, I should go up and step on my daughter's scale, but she's got one of those electronic scales that you're not supposed to jump on with a pacemaker. So I'm not going to weigh myself. I'm going to measure based on how do I feel energetically? How much energy do I have? Am I falling asleep on the couch as I'm playing with my granddaughter? Guilty. I've never done that before in my life, before this year, in the last couple of months. So that tells me there's other things I'm doing that are sucking the life out of me, sucking the energy out of me, and I need to figure out how to get those back. And maybe those are spiritual things, maybe those are emotional things, maybe those are mental things, but for sure it's got to do with how I'm moving, what I'm eating, what I'm consuming or not consuming. Am I taking my vitamins? No. Is it COVID's fault that I haven't been keeping up with all of my vitamins and all my supplements? I take my medication every day for my heart, but other things I have definitely let slip and slide. So I picked physical as my area. And then there's all these stories, all these lies I'm telling myself, because guess what? Yep, some days I couldn't get all the salads and the fruits and vegetables and things that I wanted to eat, but that didn't mean that I had to bust into the double stuffed Oreos or the treats that I might have around for my granddaughter, right? So that's just excuses we tell ourselves. And I can always find an excuse and a reason to consume sea salt caramels, which of course don't match my physical goal of wanting to feel better, have more energy, take better care of myself, etc., have less inflammation. So now I know my situation. Now I know the story I'm telling myself. Now I know where I want to be, right? We have to take a quick look at and snapshot of where we are, but we also have to know, where do I want to go? Because if I just say, I want to feel better, I want to sleep better, I want to have more energy, how the heck do I work toward that, right? I have to have some specific things I can measure and work toward in order to achieve that. And so I need to know what I want. So what do I want? I want my clothes to fit like they used to. I want my clothes to feel loose and comfortable again. I don't want it to squeeze into my jeans, right? And that's a measurable thing. I can take a pair of jeans that I could wear before COVID, and I can lay them out, and I can try them on, every few days or once a week until I feel comfortable in them. And that's a measurable thing. Is it a number measurable thing? No. If you can find and apply numbers to things, great. But since I don't weigh myself and haven't for about 10 years, I don't do, that's not one of the specific ways I'll measure. So find ways that you can measure. But today, big O, let's hop into what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about options, right? So often, and it's interesting because today's idiom for supersize your business was between a rock and a hard place. So often we feel like we only have one or two options, that life is black or white, it's yes or no, good or evil. But the truth is there's always a gazillion, I love the word a gazillion, shades of gray or possibility in between those two options, right? And maybe not, it doesn't feel like infinite, but there's always more than just two choices, right? There's always the default position of doing nothing, choosing nothing. So the big O is all about options and opportunity and possibilities and choice and alternatives and ideas. And so the first step is knowing what our situation is and where we want to go. The second step, the O in SOAP and that's S. The O in SOAP is always options, possibilities, and knowing that there's infinite possibilities and infinite ways, especially to deal with something as big as your physical well-being, my physical well-being, or any other area on this list. Any main area of our life, there are infinite possibilities and ways of dealing with it. The problem is we only usually just see this little thin sliver of possibility based on our past experiences, based on how we've dealt with situations in the past. First thing that my brain defaults to is all of the different diets and all of the different programs and all the different eating plans and all the different physical activities, all the things that I've done in the past. And it immediately starts eliminating those possibilities of things that didn't work for me, or things that I found painful, or things that I found more painful than that gave me the results I wanted, etc. And our subconscious, my subconscious and yours, automatically filters out a ton of possibilities that could actually, although they didn't work in the past for us, be combined or changed or altered in some shape or form, and they would be the exact thing we need right now. So how do we get around that? How do we actually open up our minds to the fact that, and consider other possibilities that normally we don't even see? Because we all have this vision bias and this vision prejudice where we only see what our subconscious lets us see, right? We consciously try to see things, but we only see what our subconscious will allow us. We can be walking down the street and we filter out way more things than we ever allow in. Why? Because we'd be overwhelmed, right? Another big O word. Overwhelmed with all of the possibilities, all of the stimulus, and all of the things. We can't possibly consciously process all of them. So since our conscious is limited, our subconscious helps us out and protects us by filtering out a whole lot of stuff. But that doesn't necessarily move us toward what we want in the fastest, most efficient, most effective way possible. So how do we avoid that? I love the strategy and the technique of brainstorming. And I always think everybody knows how to brainstorm and everybody's done it, but I forget I grew up in a world where that was one of the massively major, powerful tools in our toolbox to come up with alternatives, to brainstorm, to find ideas, to find better solutions to problems that we've been struggling with for years in our company or in our organization. And in school, I studied brainstorming. So I've been brainstorming for decades, and once you've done something for decades, it just becomes automatic, and you think everybody else does it, but everybody doesn't do it. So our action item for today and our activity for today is to brainstorm possible solutions, possible activities, possible steps to take toward the area of your life that you've decided to work on through the SOAP program, for the SOAP framework this time. So I've chosen my physical well-being, my physical health, and I thought about it yesterday. What's my story? What's my situation? What beliefs do I have? What things are in my way? Where am I right now? What is my situation right now? Where am I right now? And I always ask myself, how do I feel about it? Now, I wouldn't have picked it to work on if I felt awesome about it. So how do I feel about it? And then where do I want to be? What do I want my life to be like? What's my vision for where I'm going? And then now, what are the options to get me there? Now, It's a challenge. I want to get there the fastest way possible. Now, so I want to get out a piece of paper. I always write down my brainstorming, or a pad. I love, my favorites is a stack, and I don't have one. Oh, I do have one sitting here. My favorite is a stack of, yes, 3M Post-it notes. And I just start writing down all the possibilities on a Post-it note. I can carry it around with me all day, and I can just write them, and as I write them, I can just peel them off and stick them somewhere. So I like to brainstorm, meaning I just come up with ideas. No matter how crazy, no matter how random they seem, I write them down and I don't analyze them. I just write them all down, and I get as many options and as many possibilities as I can. So your assignment today, your homework, your action item is to come up with at least 10 things, at least 10 things that you could do to get you some momentum, get you some action, get you moving toward what you want, from where you are to what you want. So physically, what are some of the things I could do? I could actually get up and move my rear every single day. Actually physically do some exercise and movement that I know is good for me. I have arthritis, really bad arthritis in like pretty much my whole body. So motion and movement for me is critical. If I sit too long, like even after just sitting and making this video, I'll get up and be all creaky until I get moving. So I could do all kinds of things around activity, physical activity. I could do a whole lot of things around what I consume, what I fuel my body with, from supplements and vitamins and things, to what I choose to eat or what I choose to leave out and not eat over this 40-day period. And so those are two whole categories. I could decide I'm going to get a physical trainer or a personal trainer. I could join a health club. There's all these things I could do. So each and every one of us are going to come up with at least 10. And in the comments below, share 3 possible things. You don't have to say which one you're going to do. You don't have to say which one appeals to you most. Just share, hey, I'm working on my physical well-being. Here are 3 things that I could do. And that's our action item for today. If it's mental, financial, emotional, spiritual, relationships, what are 10 things? Brainstorm 10 things you can do right now with what you've got. Not with, and they can be anything, but we'll talk about that tomorrow when we get to the A. But today, just concentrate on all of the options, the big O, all the possibilities, all the things you could possibly do, and brainstorm and write them all down. And then pick 3 to share in the comments below. Just 3. And then tomorrow we'll go to A and we'll figure out what we're going to do about that, right? But can't do anything about anything until we know what some of the possibilities are, right? And so often we limit ourselves to, I can only do A or B, X or Y, black or white, all in or all out, 100% in one direction or the other. And that is so not true. There are so many options and so many possibilities. But brainstorming allows us to open up and see some of those, because if we don't see them, then they're not available to us. And I want to make sure that each and every one of us know how many things are absolutely available to us. If in doubt, all you have to do is take the area of your life that you have questions on and go Google it. If I were to Google, how do I lose weight at 60 for a female, I would get millions and millions of results in like milliseconds, or in 30 seconds I would have millions and millions of results. How do I exercise for a woman over 60 or 50? Boom, again, I would get millions and millions of results. So if that helps me to broaden my horizons and realize that, okay, I only see this little teeny sliver of the world, but the world's really infinite, right? So brainstorm today, one of my favorite strategies, of course. And I hope that you will make it one of yours as well, because it just opens up the world of possibility for us. If you have any questions about this, or if you need more instruction on how to brainstorm, ask in the comments below, and I will share a brainstorming step 1, step 2, step 3, how to do it. But really, you sit down with a piece of paper and you start writing down ideas that will solve the problem. Or I say Post-it notes. I like Post-it notes because you can move them around and change them around, and you can group them, and you can do cool things with them. So that's your assignment for today. Have an amazing day. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with the A in SOAP and our framework for dealing with challenges and making challenges the change we need to move us toward exactly what we want, not the thing that we dread or are afraid of because we think they're going to be painful. We're going to turn them into our stepping stones to help us get results in days that take other people years to achieve. All right, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Have a happy B-Day. Bye.